My entire life has been a stage set built on an $8 million a year lie. My name is Emma, or at least that's the name of a character I've unknowingly played for 28 years. I discovered the truth in the most mundane way possible, watering the plants at my parents' house while they were supposedly enjoying a vacation in Europe. While searching for a bill on my father's desk, I found a USB drive labeled Subject 4H728, Emma Confidential. What I saw inside weren't family photos, but contracts, budgets, and shooting schedules dating back to months before I was born. My parents, Linda and Robert Parker, aren't my parents. They're Jennifer and Michael Stone, two method actors hired by a production company called Total Reality Productions. Every hug, every piece of advice, and every fight was a scripted and paid scene. According to the files, Jennifer was paid $350,000 a year for her role as the devoted mother. The contract stipulated that the project would end the day the subject discovered the truth on their own. That day has arrived, and as I process the horror of knowing I was the most profitable social experiment in history, I realize I never had any real privacy. Delving into the files, I found folders with the names of everyone I'd ever loved. Marcos, my first boyfriend from college, didn't leave me because his family moved to Spain. He simply finished his 18-month contract. Sophia, my best friend for 5 years, was actually Carolina Mendez, an actress whose participation ended with a prearranged post-graduation distancing. Even the most intimate moments of my pain were monetized. I found a recording of a 2019 episode where I appear crying after a breakup. It had an audience of 4.7 million people and a rating of 8.9 out of 10. I wasn't living my life. I was feeding the morbid curiosity of 30 countries. There was even a distraction protocol for moments when I started to get suspicious of my surroundings. Last year, when I felt the world was too perfect to be real, my boss accused me of a non-existent mistake. I spent 2 months mired in a work crisis that kept me too busy and anxious to question anything else. The file confirmed that the crisis was manufactured by the production team to redirect my attention. Everything was under control. Every hidden camera, I counted 47 in my own house and 12 in my gym, captured my reality for a forum with 3 million followers who analyzed my every move as if I were an animal in a zoo. However, the darkest discovery wasn't the reality show itself, but my biological origins. I found a 1996 surrogacy contract between the production company and a woman named Sarah Mitchell. Sarah was paid $500,000 to carry and deliver a baby for the project. She wasn't an actress. She was my real mother, bound by an ironclad confidentiality clause to disappear from my life. I managed to contact her through a desperate message, and her response chilled me to the bone. She had been waiting for this moment for almost 3 decades, but she warned me that the show wasn't just entertainment, but something far more sinister. Sarah revealed to me that the creator of Total Reality Productions wasn't just a television mogul. The person who chose me, the one who engineered every trauma and every joy of my existence, is actually my biological father. He didn't want a daughter. He wanted a legacy he could control and observe from a monitor, an extension of his own narcissism transformed into a mass-market product. The sponsor's money not only paid the actors, but also funded a social engineering experiment to see how a human psyche could be molded under conditions of constant surveillance and artificial affection. Tomorrow at 7 in the evening, I've summoned my parents and my current boyfriend to the family home. They think it's a welcome-home dinner after their trip to Europe, but I've prepared a different surprise. I've covered the dining room with printouts of the contracts and hidden camera photos. When Jennifer and Michael walk in, they won't find their docile daughter, but subject 4H728 reclaiming her identity. I'm going to look directly into the hidden camera behind the wall clock and speak to those millions of viewers. I'm going to end the show live, exposing not only the actors, but the web of lies that allowed a child to grow up in a glass box. My lawyer says it's the biggest privacy violation case in history, but I'm not looking for compensation. What I want is the absolute truth. Sarah will come tomorrow, too. She has the last piece of the puzzle, the name of the man sitting behind the screen, the director of my life. When the world knows who he is, the experiment will be reversed. The observer will become the observed. Tomorrow, for the first time in 28 years, the cameras will turn off, and Emma will truly begin to exist, far from the script, far from the spotlight, and finally, the master of her own silences.